What up, good people? It's your man King Chronos, aka DJ Chronos, aka OMG. You peasants, you know I gotta do my intro every time. Back again with another Karakazat video. I don't know if I said it right, but I tried. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what type of stuff they on the science and stuff with all the facts to back it up, prove it. The past few videos of theirs I reacted to, not the last one, the first two. I did 3 so far, I believe. The first two. In the middle of the video, I would stop and get my little commentary and stuff like that, or what I thought made sense to me. But people were like arguing with me, telling me I was wrong in the comment section. But the last one, I pretty much agree with most of what they had to say. So, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I'm guessing they're talking about the planet Venus and how to make it livable, I guess. Don't know. But either way, we're going to hop on in. The like button, comment down below, subscribe, notification bell. Let's get our science on. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do some learning today. All right, kids, let's go.
Leaving Earth to find new homes in space is an old dream of humanity and will sooner or later be necessary for our survival. The planet that gets the most attention is Mars, a small, toxic, and energy-poor planet that just about seems good enough for a colony of depressed humans huddled in underground cities. But what if we think bigger? What if we take Venus, one of the most hostile and deadly places in the solar system, and turn it into a colony? Not by building lofty cloud cities, but by creating a proper second Earth. It might be easier than you think. Venus is by far the hottest planet in the solar system with a surface temperature of 460 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. This heat is due to the most extreme greenhouse effect in the solar system. CO2 is great at trapping heat. Even a rise from 0.03% to 0.04% in Earth's atmosphere is heating up our planet right now. Venus's atmosphere is 97% CO2. Also, Venus's atmosphere is 93 times denser than Earth's. Standing on Venus's surface would feel like taking a dive about 900 meters deep into the ocean. The pressure would kill you instantly. It's a truly horrible place, so why should we even bother? First and foremost, Venus is almost as big as Earth and has 90% of its surface gravity. Surface gravity is a big problem when colonizing the solar system because it's very likely that long stays in low-gravity places will have negative health effects. Venus's size means it could be the second largest habitat in the solar system. A new home for billions of humans and trillions of animals, with oceans, lush forests, and a beautiful blue sky. A properly terraformed Venus may be the most pleasant place to live outside of Earth. While we can't exactly terraform Venus today, a slightly more ambitious future version of us could take this project on.
By advertising on YouTube, I grow my business by reaching my most important customers, people like Allison.
It will take a few generations to complete and be a huge challenge like building the Great Pyramids was for our ancestors. But then, it's not like humans have never started projects that took more than a lifetime to complete. Okay. Let's do it. Before anything else, we need to cool Venus down and remove the gas that makes up the extremely heavy atmosphere. As mentioned, there's a lot of it. Around 465 million billion tons. How do we do that? There are a few options. We could create giant solar collectors powering a huge array of laser beams that heat up the atmosphere so much that it's blasted into space. Although we would need thousands of times the entire power generating capacity of humanity, and it would still take thousands of years to remove the atmosphere. Another way is to sequester the atmosphere, binding the CO2 in different compounds through chemical reactions. We could mine elements like calcium or magnesium on Mercury and shoot them at Venus via mass driver systems, electric rails that make rockets unnecessary on smaller planets. The metals would combine to bind the CO2 into different carbonates basically forever. But the scale makes the whole thing impractical. We would need several 100 billion tons of material to sequester the CO2 this way. Seems like a waste of material and might take too long. An equally ridiculous idea that could actually work is to put Venus in the shade. Literally. by constructing a huge mirror to blot out the sun to just freeze the atmosphere. The mirror doesn't need to be complex or massive, just a very thin foil with a little structural support. Building such a large flat surface so close to the sun will turn it effectively into a solar sail and push it out of position. So instead of one giant circular object, our mirror will consist of many different pieces. Annular slats of
Hey bro, I'm gonna be real. Yeah, playing with fire, man. Playing with fire. I don't know. Okay, the fact that they said that it's over 400 degrees Celsius on Venus, that lets me know that we've never been there before. Never been there. You know what I'm saying? So there's no evidence that there is or is not life on Venus. Matter of fact, let me I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna Google if we ever been to Venus before I even speak, because I know y'all gonna come at me a little left. we gonna hit the play button and
angled mirrors can reflect sunlight from one set of mirrors to the next. Mirrors would be angled, reflecting light from one to another until the light is redirected to the back, balancing the force on the front and holding them in position. After a few years of getting the infrastructure in place, things start slowly and then escalate. For the first few decades, the atmosphere slowly cools down but stays dense and deadly, until after some 60 years, it reaches the critical temperature of 31 degrees Celsius. Suddenly, the Great Flood begins on Venus as CO2 turns to liquid at this pressure and begins to rain down. A constant global rainstorm of unbelievable proportions lasting 30 years. The pressure and temperature suddenly begin to drop in unison. For almost a century, puddles turn into lakes and oceans. The surface temperature is now minus 56 degrees Celsius and the pressure has dropped to only 7 times the pressure on Earth. Finally, at a really unpleasant minus 81 degrees Celsius, the CO2 oceans begin to freeze and the rain turns into snow.
Okay, Venus was actually the first planet to be explored by a spacecraft. So I was wrong. NASA's Mariner 2 successfully flew by and scanned the cloud-covered world on December 14, 1962. Since then, numerous spacecraft from the U.S. and other space agencies have explored Venus, including NASA's Magellan, which mapped the planet's surface with radar. It was probed March 1st, 1966 by the Venera 3 Soviet space probe crash landed on Venus, becoming the first spacecraft to reach the surface of another planet. Okay, so I was wrong. Either way, because it's covered in cloud and so hot, we still don't know whether there's life or not on Venus. You know what I'm saying? So we might get there and Venus ants could eat people and something along those lines. And we just gonna go there all happy go lucky and nah, fam. That was, I don't know, that was an extreme take. Let's get back to the video.
This leaves us with a frozen Venus covered in oceans as hard as rock and gigantic CO2 glaciers. What remains of the atmosphere is mostly nitrogen at about 3 times Earth's surface pressure. If you don't mind freezing and suffocating, you can now take a stroll over Venus's surface. But the frozen CO2 remains a bit of a problem. At some point, we want to warm up the planet, but if we do, the CO2 ice will melt and fill up the atmosphere again. So we need some way to keep it from doing that. One is to simply cover it all with cheap plastic insulation and cover it up with ground up Venus rock or water oceans. Although some planetary scientists will be very stressed out about us building a new planet containing a potential time bomb like that. A few unfortunately timed volcanoes could melt a lot of CO2 at once and ruin everything. Another obvious solution is to shoot it all out into space and collect it into a small moon for storage and future use. We can make this more efficient by using mass drivers instead of rockets.
The fact that they think at any point, if we already can't use CO2, frozen CO2, to make it into a storage facility or a moon says a lot about how fake some of the stuff that we've already done could be. That's not here nor there.
Rockets, but moving all that mass will still be a pretty intense challenge that will take some time to solve. Whatever we end up doing with the atmosphere, to move forward we need water, which we could get from ice moons. Europa, a moon of Jupiter, has twice as much water as Earth's oceans. Now, catching a moon and transporting it through the solar system is not exactly easy. So instead, it might be easier to cut chunks of ice off Europa with an army of construction drones and shoot them at Venus using more of those mass drivers. Space tethers could save us a lot of effort and energy here. We made a whole video explaining how they work, but in a nutshell, they are slings that can take a payload on both ends. On Europa, they do most of the work needed to catapult our ice to Venus. The ice hits the Venus tethers, which gently drop it into the atmosphere, where it falls down as snow. In exchange, the Venus tethers get to catch CO2 ice shot up from below and accelerate it into orbit. We can remove excess nitrogen using this same method to further lower our atmospheric pressure. After a few decades or centuries, Venus would be covered by a nice, shallow, frozen ocean a few hundred meters deep. It would look extremely different from today. A few continents and countless islands have formed. This is beginning to look a bit like our planet. Now the last and most magnificent phase of terraforming begins, making the atmosphere breathable and adding life. First, we need light though, and we need to heat the planet up again. A Venus day is 2,802 hours long. Now the last and most magnificent phase of terraforming begins, making the atmosphere breathable and adding life. First, we need light though, and we need to heat the planet up again.
I have no idea what that word is that he said we needed.
A Venus day is 2,802 hours long, more than 116 Earth days. So if we just remove our giant mirror, we would grill half of our planet. Even without the massive atmosphere, temperatures would reach unbearable levels. The simplest way to create a day-night cycle and let some energy in again is with another set of mirrors to illuminate our continents and melt our water oceans, which would let us completely control how much energy we get and where it goes. The atmosphere is now mostly made up of nitrogen and basically devoid of oxygen. So the first inhabitants will likely be trillions and trillions of cyanobacteria, which can get photosynthesizing and release oxygen. We know that they can quickly turn around the atmosphere of a planet because billions of years ago they were probably responsible for turning the toxic atmosphere of our young Earth into an atmosphere with enough oxygen for more complex animal life. But not only that, cyanobacteria can fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and turn it into nutrients that can be used by living beings. This way, they will essentially fertilize our dead ocean water and prepare it for more complex organisms.
But see, like I said, we don't know what's already there. So what if this process and doing this, or during the process of this, those animals evolve or use these things to, mutate into something else? I don't even know why I call them animals, because we don't know if they would be classified as animals, so we don't know. I'm just saying, what if what's ever already there eats the bacteria that y'all need to make things happen? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. My phone's blowing up. Let's get back to the video. These are just thoughts and questions, so please don't attack me.
On land, our colonists need to grind down some of the former Venusian surface to make soil for nitrogen-fixing plants to grow on. Eventually, billions of trees would spread, creating large forests covering massive parts of the continents. Venus would turn green. To speed things up, CO2 would be strategically released to supply the plants and cyanobacteria. Areas already covered with plants could get extra daylight from our orbital mirrors, so the plants would be active for most of each day. Maybe we won't have to do this with the same plants and animals we know today, as genetic
See what I mean? They making Pokemon.
Extra daylight from our orbital mirrors so the plants would be active for most of each day. Maybe we won't have to do this with the same plants and animals we know today. As genetic engineering matures and our understanding of genetics and the machinery of life expands, we might just engineer life as we
Machinery of life.
need it. All in all, it would take several thousand years to make the atmosphere breathable by humans. In the meantime, you could stroll around with nothing more than regular clothes and an oxygen mask. Settlers would enjoy a vast new planet filled with resources and bathed in sunlight. They might think of new ways to use the vast amounts of carbon dioxide ice and nitrogen orbiting in space above. Industrial processes, rocket fuel, or even boosting the terraforming of another planet like tiny Mars. Venus is fully terraformed. Animals roam through vast ecosystems. Cities are being constructed. Billions of settlers and their descendants make this world their home. They will see images of the past, how Venus was once the most hostile planet around, how it took hundreds of years to freeze hell and to ship in the oceans, and another few thousand years to make it possible to breathe freely. They will barely be able to believe it. Okay, maybe it's not that easy to terraform Venus, and a lot of things must go right for this future to become reality. But it is possible, and with technology that is within the reach of a motivated and slightly more advanced humanity that wants to venture into space. The only thing that's stopping it is our imagination, and that at least is a problem that's easy to overcome. If you think about it, your imagination is the only thing stopping you from doing all kinds of things. All you need is a little nudge, and we might just have the right thing to get you started.
You know what? They're probably right there. All the stuff is probably possible. You put your imagination to it, and because I can't imagine some of the stuff that they say, I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even matter what I think, because even though I'm immortal, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna be around for all of this, man, because I'm immortal. I can't die. You know what I'm saying? Live on forever. Long live the king Kronos.
We are big fans of Skillshare, an online learning community that offers thousands of classes for all skill levels in tons of creative disciplines like illustration, animation, or film and video. Or you could try a class on home decoration, growing houseplants, or playing the guitar. Give them a try. And if you need an extra little push, by Kendall Hillegas. In this class, Kendall explains her 4-phase process for exploring and figuring out your direction as active with new skills and support Kurzgesagt. Give it a go.
So there isn't an video. Okay. So I pretty much said all that I had to say in reaction to what they're saying. I'm not in disagreement with what they're saying, because like they said, it could be what's stopping us from achieving these things in our own imagination. I would like to point out the fact that the person that would be able to do this is probably severely limited because of their upbringings, their background, and their race in this country. So, you know, that's the thing. We could have already had all this, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if this was happening right now today, I don't know if I would be one of the first people to want to go there. You know what I'm saying? We didn't tamper with some stuff. There's some different kind of animals that we don't understand how they operate. Like, imagine a Venus silverback squirrel. Like, and it's running rampant. What do you do? I might have just created something, man. If somebody made it this far in this video, send this to your favorite animator. I want to see a rabid silverback squirrel. You know what I'm saying? Like a Venus rabid silverback squirrel. I need to see what that looks like. please. And from that, the like button. Comment down below. Comment some crazy animal like combination y'all think gonna be here. That's what I'm saying. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell. Please don't attack me. Please don't attack me.